I would like to begin with maybe changing a little bit of seating arrangements or the like. First of all, I invite the folks in the vestibule that are standing there to possibly come into church and have a seat and make room for them here if there's no room for them. The reason why, sometimes when I preach, I have noticed in congregations that people fall asleep. And if you're standing, you might fall over, hit the floor, and could be dangerous. I think it would be more comfortable if you'd have a seat during the preaching. Also, I would like the servers to get up and sit in this first pew right over here. All of you, servers, man, sit in this first pew right over here. I do that because I have this thing about teenagers behind my back when I'm speaking. All right? So go right ahead, sit right here in this first pew, the servers. It'll be good. When I was about your age, teenagers here, I was in the high school seminary in my archdiocese. And they had a rule in the high school seminary that your report card, I don't even know if you get report cards anymore, but whenever you got your report card, and we got a report card like maybe 5 times a year, 4 to 5 times a year, we would have to go and visit with our pastor, the pastor of the parish that I was from. And I'd have to call, make an appointment, go over to the rectory where the pastor lived, and I would have to sit down with him and give him my report card. And then he would go over with the report card with me. Now, this was not an easy task to do. He was an older gentleman, very big man, very stern man, and his name was Right Reverend Monsignor Alphonsus L. Memesheimer. And you better not say his name wrong. Memesheimer, all right? And so I would go in and see Monsignor Memesheimer and give him my report card. Now, I never knew exactly what he was going to say. Like, well, Johnny, maybe you could work a little harder. Maybe you could be a little bit more disciplined. Maybe you shouldn't get into so much trouble. Or maybe you're doing very well. Keep up the good work. Blah, blah, blah. But he would conclude every session with him, every visit with him, with the same remark. Always the same remarks. I mean, I had it down pat. I knew what to expect because he always concluded the session. When we would get up, he would either shake my hand or he would talk to me and he'd say, Johnny, have perseverance. Have perseverance. Now, I heard that over and over again for 4 years, 5 times a year, 20 times. I knew exactly what he was going to say. Said it. I thought it was kind of funny in a way. I really didn't understand when I was a teenager and he would say that to me, what it meant to have perseverance. Only as I have gotten older do I realize the wisdom of what he had told me during those 4 years, and how important and how significant and really what perseverance is and what it means. He was basically telling me that I would face people with evil in their hearts, and I was to have perseverance. That I would face people who would put evil into action in my life and around me, and I was to have perseverance. That I would anger people and upset people in authority, whether they were in political, governmental jobs or owned corporations or in the church. Yet I was to have perseverance. That I would experience division in my family and among my people. But I was to have perseverance. What did that mean exactly? Monsignor Memesheimer was telling me to always be truthful and honest in my relationships with God and with one another. Be truthful and honest in my relationships. I was to have perseverance. I should never give up. Don't give up. Persevere. Never be led astray from being honest and truthful in my relationships. Never be defeated by evil. Have perseverance. Have perseverance like Jeremiah, the prophet, had. He knew the truth. He knew what God wanted him to say and how he wanted him to act. And in the face of all kinds of opposition, that's what it means to be a prophet, really, and to be prophetic means to speak the truth of God's truth. God is truth. Remember, Pontius Pilate asked Jesus, "What is truth?" God is truth. Jesus is truth. And that's why our relationship with Him is so vital and so important, that we always be truthful and honest in all of our relationships with God and with everyone else. Jeremiah was true. He suffered dearly. They tried to kill him. They threw him into a cistern, an old well that was dry except for mud. But God saved him because he had perseverance. Jesus, look at Jesus, sinless, the Son of God, who was willing to do anything for his people, share everything he had, loved him so that he came among us. How many people hated him and despised him? You know that. All he did was speak the truth, to try to share God's message, to lead others to become closer to God. That's what his life was all about. And others despised him for it. Jesus had perseverance. He gave his life, he had such perseverance. There are so many people, if you are going to live up to how God made you and me, if we're going to be truthful and honest, so many people in this world don't want to hear or see the truth. They don't want to hear or see the truth. They will do anything to get away from the truth. The truth and honesty is like a mirror. And when we live a truthful and honest life, as an example, when we speak in a truthful and honest way, for some people, that mirror only shows how dishonest and untruthful others may be, because we are that way in our lives, and that's how we have to be with God, in our relationship with God. So what is the reaction so many times? Break the mirror. Get rid of the mirror where we see the truth. Get rid of the person that is an example and an expression of the truth and honesty. Get rid of them, however, don't have anything to do with them. So what happens a lot of times in our lives, and especially for me as a teenager back there, and I think with the teenagers here, so many times we want to be liked. You know, ever hear that word? You want to be liked? You don't want to be disliked by all the other teenagers and young people that you're, kind of ostracized. And so many times you give up the mission, and all of us do. I'm not just talking to them. give up the mission of what we're supposed to be and who we are, to be truthful and honest in our relationship with God and with everyone else, because we want to be liked. This like thing is really not much. You know, if you can, only thing you can say about your life, and you really, I was liked. So what? Did you ever hear in any of Jesus' teachings and Jesus' example that he ever used the word liked? You know, doesn't make any difference whether you're liked. Like is like someone choosing a flavor of ice cream or something like that. It has nothing to do with relationships. It has nothing to do with honesty, but we get so caught up with it. I guess even in internet and smartphones, people talk about liked, being liked, everything liked, you know what I mean? It's irrelevant. Doesn't make any difference whether you're liked in this world. What makes a difference is that Jesus, as Jesus said, we are not supposed to like people, we're supposed to love one another. Love one another. And the way that we show that love in relationships to others is respect. Respect one another. I mean, truly respect one another. Because we're children of God. Now, you got all kinds of relatives, neighbors, people you work with, even your relatives. I bet you there's a lot of relatives you don't like, all right? It's irrelevant, you know? You didn't choose them. It has nothing to do with life, but you better respect them. You better respect everybody that you deal with and show concern for them and caring. That's what Jesus did, and that's what Jesus showed. And that's what Jesus expects of each one of us, that we be truthful and honest in our relationships with Him and with one another. That's what God pays attention to. That's what determines whether we are a good person or a person that has not persevered and let evil and sinfulness take over our lives. When it comes to the judgment day, it won't make any difference how many people like you. It'll be that judgment day how honest and truthful you have been in your relationships with others and with God. That you truly cared, that you truly shared, and that you truly lived the life that Jesus has given each one of us to live. That we have persevered. The words that the old priest always said to me, Johnny, have perseverance. I never realized how important it was until I got older. To have perseverance, to make anything worthwhile happen, to stick with it. Hang in there. Don't give up. Keep fighting for what is right and what is good in relationships with God and with one another. And the foundation of all those relationships is honesty and trust and truthfulness. Vital. St. Francis of Assisi, a great saint of our church and of our family of faith, that's what I mean by the church, a member of our family. He had an expression that over the last few years has meant a great deal for me. And I share it with you now. Kind of a caliper of life. As much as we are, this was from St. Francis, as much as we are in the sight of God is all that matters and nothing more. As much as we are in the sight of God and nothing more. Doesn't make any difference if you're liked or you're not liked. It doesn't make any difference whether you have doctorates and educational certificates from Harvard or the greatest university. It doesn't make any difference whether you've got billions in a bank account and prosperity galore. It doesn't make any difference whether you've been elected to political position and whether you have positions of power and authority. Doesn't, as much as you are is how you appear in the sight of God and nothing more. And that's the only one, and that's the only relationship that truly, really matters. And if you have a great relationship with God that is truthful and honest, you will have a great relationship with one another that is also truthful and honest, because all that matters is how we appear in the sight of God and nothing more. Have perseverance. Have perseverance. Amen.